In today's world of global politics, few figures have risen to power as quickly and as controversially as Muhammad Bin Salman, widely known as MBS. At just 30 years old, he became the de facto ruler of Saudi Arabia, shaking the foundations of one of the world's most conservative and secretive kingdoms. But who is MBS? How did he rise from a little-known royal to one of the most powerful and talked-about leaders on the global stage? And how has his rule reshaped Saudi Arabia's future and its place in the world? Stay with us as we uncover the story of the man who has changed the course of Saudi history. And don't forget to subscribe to The Time Lens for more stories that shape our world. Muhammad bin Salman was born in 1985, the son of King Salman, who was at the time the governor of Riyadh province. Though royalty by birth, MBS was not initially seen as a major player in the race for power. Saudi Arabia's royal family is vast, with thousands of princes, and in his early years, MBS lived largely outside of the global spotlight. But behind palace walls, he was quietly preparing. After earning a law degree from King Saud University, MBS began advising his father, helping him manage the royal court and gain influence among the kingdom's most powerful tribes and business leaders. Then, in 2015, everything changed. Following the death of King Abdullah, MBS's father, Salman bin Abdulaziz, ascended to the throne. Almost overnight, MBS was appointed Minister of Defense, making him one of the youngest defense ministers in the world. With this new power, MBS launched Saudi Arabia's military campaign in Yemen, a controversial and still ongoing conflict that would define his early years on the global stage. But military leadership was just the beginning. MBS had a far more ambitious vision, not just for himself, but for Saudi Arabia. In 2016, he unveiled Vision 2030, a bold plan to transform the kingdom's economy and reduce its reliance on oil. This vision included opening Saudi Arabia to foreign investment, developing tourism, and building futuristic cities like Neom, a $500 billion mega project on the Red Sea coast. Under MBS's leadership, long-standing social restrictions began to ease. In a historic move, women were allowed to drive for the first time. Cinemas, concerts, and sporting events returned after decades of bans. For the first time in modern history, Saudi Arabia appeared to be modernizing at lightning speed. But this rapid change did not come without controversy or resistance. As MBS consolidated his power, his tactics grew increasingly bold. In 2017, the world watched as dozens of princes, government officials, and wealthy businessmen were detained in Riyadh's Ritz-Carlton Hotel in what was described as an anti-corruption crackdown. Critics, however, saw it as a calculated power move to eliminate rivals and secure his dominance over the kingdom's wealth and political machinery. Internationally, MBS projected himself as a reformer, meeting with global business leaders, tech CEOs, and politicians. He spoke of a modern Saudi Arabia, open to innovation and progress. But darker moments soon cast shadows over his global image. In 2018, the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul shocked the world. Western intelligence agencies and global media pointed fingers at the Crown Prince's inner circle, claiming the operation could not have happened without high-level approval. MBS denied direct involvement, calling the killing a heinous crime. Yet the incident left an indelible mark on his reputation. Despite global outrage, MBS remained firmly in control. He continued pushing forward with Vision 2030, securing massive investments, including deals with major American, European, and Asian companies. He also strengthened his ties with key allies, particularly the United States and China, balancing Saudi Arabia's position between competing global powers. But even as MBS reshaped Saudi Arabia's economy and society, many in the kingdom and abroad asked the same question. How far would he go to protect his vision and his power? On the regional front, Muhammad bin Salman's leadership has been defined by a complex mix of tension and diplomacy. His tough stance against Iran, Saudi Arabia's long-standing rival, remains a cornerstone of his foreign policy. From Yemen to Lebanon, the two nations have often found themselves on opposite sides of regional conflicts. MBS's military intervention in Yemen, launched in 2015, was intended to stop Iranian influence, but instead, the war dragged on for years, turning into one of the worst humanitarian crises of the modern era. Despite harsh global criticism over Yemen, MBS has gradually pursued peace elsewhere. He restored diplomatic ties with Qatar after a years-long blockade and opened channels of dialogue with Turkey, a former rival. But his most unexpected move was initiating historic talks with Israel, something no Saudi leader had ever attempted. These efforts reflected a larger vision: to position Saudi Arabia as the driving force behind a new, economically driven Middle East. MBS is no longer just leading Saudi Arabia. He's attempting to reshape the entire region's future, transitioning it from a zone of endless conflict into a hub of global trade, technology, and tourism. Domestically, his modernization campaign continues to reshape everyday Saudi life. Public spaces once silent now host music festivals, art exhibitions, and sports events like Formula One and heavyweight boxing. Cinemas that were banned for decades now screen Hollywood blockbusters. For Saudi Arabia's youth, who make up nearly 70% of the population, MBS represents hope, modernity, and national pride. He has become a symbol of change for a generation, tired of restrictions and eager to join the modern world. But beneath these changes, cracks remain. Critics argue that for all its outward reforms, Saudi Arabia remains an authoritarian monarchy, where political dissent is silenced swiftly. Activists, intellectuals, and even royal family members who challenge MBS's authority face imprisonment or exile. Human rights groups point out that while women can now drive and work, those who campaigned for these rights were often arrested and silenced. So, who is Muhammad bin Salman? Is he the bold reformer, courageously dragging Saudi Arabia into a brighter, more diversified future? Or is he the ruthless autocrat, consolidating power through fear, controlling the media, and stamping out opposition? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between those extremes. A man driven by ambition and vision, but one who governs with a heavy hand. A leader willing to challenge centuries of religious conservatism, but not willing to share his power. Internationally, MBS has walked a careful line between world powers. He has strengthened Saudi Arabia's economic ties with China and Russia, while maintaining a fragile but vital alliance with the United States. His pragmatic diplomacy has won him praise from business leaders and politicians, but also criticism from human rights advocates who accuse him of whitewashing authoritarian abuses, both inside and outside his borders. Looking ahead to Vision 2030, the economic transformation plan he champions, MBS faces enormous hurdles. Global oil prices fluctuate unpredictably. Political tensions in the region could spiral out of control at any moment. And despite billions of dollars invested in futuristic mega-projects like NEOM, skeptics question whether these ambitions will ever become reality or remain expensive dreams in the desert. The question remains: can one man modernize an entire nation, outpace its conservative traditions, and maintain absolute control without facing serious resistance from within or abroad? One thing is clear: Muhammad bin Salman is no ordinary crown prince. His decisions, whether visionary or reckless, are shaping the Middle East's future, and perhaps the world's, for decades to come. But as his power grows, so too does the risk. Will his legacy be remembered as the bold reformer who changed his nation's destiny, or as the ruler whose unchecked ambition led to unforeseen consequences? If you found this story insightful, subscribe to The Time Lens, where we dive deep into the leaders and decisions shaping our modern world. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.